Welcome to the Sunday Addicted to Gear live show. 3.88 thousand people, something around those lines, which is encouraging. I like to see the numbers go up. So spread the good word and make sure people know about the channel. The channel basically is all about gear. So everybody that is interested in gear, addicted to gear, loves gear, can't get enough of gear, is considering buying or selling gear. Well, this hopefully is the channel that you guys are tuning into, because this is the one where we're going to be giving you the straight scoop. I hope is everything going well over here? Are things frozen? What's going on? I hope that things are not frozen. Let me see. Hold on. Somebody's saying that the video is frozen. Is that what's happening, guys? Is the video frozen? I hope we're not going to have gremlins today. Let's see. Seems okay on my end so far, hopefully. Can you guys see me? Is it frozen? What happened there? Are we losing people? Rico says it was frozen on his end. I don't want to be losing people here. Started again. Okay, so hopefully it's just a glitch. All right. Sometimes the gremlins are active, unfortunately, and hopefully we don't have issues like this again. But good. So it seems like everyone's back, slowly trickling in. Good. Let's hope that's the end of the gremlins. So guys, what can I say? Oh yeah, so some of you already noticed. Yes, this is a Silver Sky. I got my hands on one. This is actually not mine, but I did get my hands on one. I'm basically evaluating it, and I'd like to do a review for you guys. I know that there was a lot of people interested in these guitars, so I ended up finding one, and there you go. This is it. This is, I'm actually going to take this to the jam session this weekend. It's actually a nice sound, you know? Sounds nice. So, because I didn't buy this guitar, I'm not out any money, but I thought it would be a good opportunity to check it out and to see what all the hoopla is about and give you the straight scoop on it and give you my opinion. Specs on this guitar is quite nice. The guitar itself is compared to, how can I put this? Compared to my Strats, very similar in terms of, you know, features and functions. Obviously, it's got the same layout, you know, tone, knob, 5-way switch, single coil pickups, decent bridge in my opinion. That's not the best bridge I've ever seen, but I mean, it's doing its own thing. It's not a Fender 6-screw type thing. It's a 2-post bridge. The pickups sound good, I find. They have a little bit of a kind of a spanky thing going. I don't know. I mean, I haven't spent enough time with it, to be honest with you, to give you my full review or opinion on this. But I'm liking it so far. The most important thing is the neck to me, and it really has a really nice neck. I'm not a huge fan of the color, I'm going to be honest. This is, I think, what they call, it's green, but they have a special name for this color. I think it's, they call it evergreen or something like that. You know, it's okay. wouldn't be a color I would necessarily choose. I noticed the plastics don't really match, so that there's a little bit of a the knobs, the pickup covers are a little bit more white. The pickguard is a little bit slightly different color. And a 3-ply pickguard, nice neck, rosewood I guess, or some other kind of rosewood-ish fretboard. The frets feel nice. You know, I'll give you the rundown. I'll give you the rundown on this guitar shortly after I spend some time with it. Today will be the test. I'm going to be playing it live with the band, and definitely want to be able to put it through its paces before I actually give you guys any additional opinion on it. But I'm liking it so far. I mean, I don't really feel that it's a bad guitar in any way. There was some questions on the guitar. What is the neck scale? This scale, neck scale is, if I'm not mistaken, what is the neck scale on this? I think it's the same as the Strat. 25.5. That's the neck scale. 25.5 inches. I have the same guitar, Rico says. PRS just completed my warranty work. Had paint drip in the neck pocket and ding on the back of the neck. Should RCV it back this Wednesday. So you receive it back this Wednesday. So there was a drip inside the pocket and they took care of it. All right. Well, that's pretty thorough if you pulled out the neck to look inside the pocket. There's no blemishes or anything. The only thing I found a little odd is that the back cover is not 3-ply like the front cover is. So I don't know why they did that. It would have been nice for them to use the same 3-ply on the back. There is an extremely thick block in there. I don't know if you can see that, but there's a really nice thick block in there. And they put in the Silver Sky emblem here. Says Silver Sky John Mayer model, 4 bolt on the neck plate here, and they curved this over. I don't really feel that this does much, but that's what they did. There's no skunk stripe on the back of the neck. Overall, pretty nice. I find that certain things are a little bit cheap, like the tuners. The top of the tuners are not metal, they're plastic. And this little piece here is also plastic. I think on the full-fledged American version, I think the tuner knobs here are metal. So I think they kind of just tried to emulate that. You can see the back of the tuners there. Overall, a nice guitar. Middle position sounds nice. Definition on the chords. I hear all the notes. You see the difference between the neck and the bridge. Quite substantial. And the middle position. So here's the neck. Here's the middle position, and here's the bridge. So I don't know, I like it. Let me just let the dog in. Give me a second, boys and girls. Sorry for that interruption, but I hear her at the door. Hiya. Come on. She'll be back. I just left the door open. She'll barge in any minute. Here she comes. I hear her now. There she is. There she is. Always barging in at the wrong times. Mark says there's a dude on Reverb who makes pickguards for Silver Sky. I bought a tortoise one from him. Nice. That's a nice upgrade. I think it would be eventually pretty nice to change that pickguard and put in something a little bit nicer. And to have some nicer options on the colors eventually. Rico says paint issue was on the outside. Oh, I see. Outside of the neck pocket. I see. Okay. And Guitar Center gave you 20% off due to the damage. And PRS said they put a new neck and fixed the paint. Well, that's nice. At least they're giving proper customer support. If you're going to be spending that kind of money on a guitar like that, yeah, you do definitely want to have that kind of support. Like I said, the model I have here is pretty much flawless. I don't see any issues. It looks really nice. Even the setup was pretty good. I didn't have to really do anything to it. The neck relief was good. I would say maybe the height of the strings a little bit. But there's no buzzing or anything. Even high up. Even if you bend all the way up here. No fret out. Quicksilver says, what time do you wake up on Sundays? At 10 a.m. on Sunday. I still be wearing pajamas. I usually get up pretty early on Sundays. I'm going to say around 7, usually. Around that time. Keith said I had gotten an SC24. And the neck moves in and out almost a quarter step. Oh my God. Gonna have to go back. It moves in and out a quarter step? Wow. That's pretty drastic. How does that happen? I don't understand. Do you mean over time with temperature changes? Is that it? Is that what you're saying? Really weird. Lion King says a friend of mine just started playing, but she hates the look of her guitar. Should she buy a new one? She likes the look of or just focus on her playing. Oh, well, good question. I think I'm partial to, I think you have to like the guitars that you have. It doesn't really affect the playability. It would be a good guitar to learn even if she didn't like the look of it. But I think playing a guitar that you actually like the look of is going to be more inspiring for you to pick it up. If you have a guitar that you don't really enjoy looking at, you're going to not really feel the desire to pick it up, right? Looks are important to that in that regards. But I think, if she's just starting off, focus on playing first, and then she can upgrade to a guitar that she really likes. Give it a bit of time. I think the first guitars we all eventually start off with are not necessarily the guitars that we really like or aimed to have, or maybe are right for us. I think we end up buying the first guitar out of just necessity to start with something. So we end up grabbing a guitar that's not necessarily the proper guitar for our needs. And eventually, once we learn what those needs are, we can upgrade, right? So I would give her that advice and see if she can just hang in there with that guitar for a little longer until she really understands what she likes, what she needs. Quicksilver says, Dan of New Jersey, LOL, what a surprise. First he says he's not a fanboy, but every single thing he has said or done since getting the guitar has been nothing but fanboyish. All right, let's not be rough on Dan. Dan, are you a fanboy? Honestly, give me the straight scoop here. What's going on? Let's see here. I'm just scrolling down, guys. Scrolling down. Cool Tune says, Tony, thinking swapping speakers in my 212. All right. Black Star open back. There are Celestion 7080s in there currently. Or just buy a new cab using PV Classic 20 head with it. good question. I would say it would be worthwhile upgrading the 7080 speaker. The 7080 speaker is not terrible, but it's not necessarily gonna be giving that amplifier the full potential. Which Black Star do you have, actually? Just if you could give me an idea of which one it is. But I think the 7080 speaker is sort of a so-so speaker, and there's other speakers that I would maybe recommend if you want to really get the full potential out of the amp. House of Twang says she should buy 2 more and recess. Sorry, I'm missing. Randy says new gear. Still waiting for my TC Helicon Performer. He's a little upset about that. How long you been waiting, Randy? Are they being affected by the chip shortage as well? They probably are. I would imagine that's the situation, right? That's probably why everything's back ordered. I know that the people at AxeFX also are slightly back ordered as well. Okay, so they're talking about Dylan Talks Tone. Okay, I see. We're talking about Dylan Talks Tone. So I missed that. You guys were talking about that. All right, let me just scroll back and see what the issue was with that. What is it? Fat Philosopher says Dylan likes to get antagonistic with his audience. I see. I don't really watch the channel much, so I don't really, I can't really comment on that. I've maybe caught it once or twice. Quicksilver says, addicted to gear, being halfway across the world in Europe, it's 4:15 here. I don't wake up until 11 a.m. on Sundays. I don't blame you. I don't blame you. If I could sleep in on Sundays, I'd love to sleep in, but I can't sleep in, it seems. I don't know why. It just, the mind wakes up and I can't go back to bed. Tonefish says, is it me or is Japan made all solid torrefied top guitars for $1,000, $1,200? Seems like a steal today. Is a Japan made all... Well, there's a lot of great stuff coming out of Japan. So $1,200 is not expensive. I mean, you look at the price on the Strats and these guitars. You're looking at an entry-level guitar at about $1,000 today. So yeah, I think $1,200 is really doable. $1,200 is not extreme for a brand new guitar, I don't think. Mark says he got up at 4:50 today. Was that like on purpose, Mark? Did you have to go to work? Or what's going on? That's early, dude. Saint Brando wants to know if I had a choice between the top of the line Strat or a Silver Sky, what would you choose? Now you're talking the Silver Sky SE, like this one, or like a full-blown Silver Sky? That would be a tough decision to decide on. I would say that because I have plenty of Strats right now, I probably have maybe 5. I lost track. Probably about 5. I probably go with the Silver Sky, just to have a little variation. Not because, how many Strats do you need? I know the answer is always one more, right? But I'm actually building another Strat right now. I'm actually putting that together, and it's a custom built parts caster that I'm building for myself, and it's coming out really nice. It's almost done. I finally got the little the bushings here. The tuners that I have are vintage style tuners, but the neck I was using had larger holes, more modern holes. So I needed to get little bushings here that would fit bigger holes, and I ordered those. And because the hardware is gold, because it's gonna be it's gonna have an SRV kind of flair to it. Had to order the parts. They just came in. So I'm hoping to have that all ready and put together by the end of the month. There might be a couple of little things I want to tweak on it, little minor things, but it's coming along really nicely. A beautiful 3-tone sunburst body on that guitar. And I'm excited. It's really looking good. Spring for me is the beginning of new projects. I tend to start new guitar projects in the spring because the temperature cooperates here. And so there's a couple of guitars that I'm thinking about doing paint jobs on, namely the Brunetti, not the Brunetti, sorry, the Beretta, the Kramer Beretta Special that I have in salmon. Never liked the color, so I'm going to probably repaint that guitar. I have the Harley Benton behind me that with P90s that's white. I'm probably going to repaint that guitar as well. So there's a couple of projects that I have lined up there, and then the new Strat build. And then while I'm going to be repainting the Kramer Beretta, I'm also going to put in a Vegatrem tremolo on that one as well, similar to what I did on the black Beretta, which I really like. And I have a couple of things in store as well. So I'm happy that spring is finally here. Tonefish says the American original 60s Strat Silver Sky every time. He says it's better than Silver Sky every time. I haven't really compared them side by side, so I couldn't really discuss in terms of how I felt. They're definitely different. I did already do a little shootout in private here between the Silver Sky SE, and my Japanese Strat that I've had forever. Definitely two different beasts. They're not exactly the same. They might look similar, but they're very different under the fingers. So, it's hard to say that, it's a one-to-one comparison. They both offer slightly different things. MFN says, hi again from California. Recommendations for echo pedals. Echo or delay? Are you talking echo specifically or delay? There's a lot of great delay pedals out there. And are you looking analog delay? If it is delay, are you looking at digital delay? Give us a little bit more insight as to what you're looking for, and we can probably help you out with that. And Fat Philosopher says, I would probably agree. Do PRS even make a left-handed Silver Sky? Well, I'm not sure if they do, but they should. Is it available in left hand? I don't know. That's a good question. Sorry, I don't always think about lefties, but you're right. Let's see what they say on the website. Do they say it's available in a left-handed version? There must be left-handed versions out there someplace. No information on the website from what I can see here. Well, that sucks. I don't know. I don't know. I can't answer that question. If anybody knows if there's a Silver Sky in a lefty version, please let us know. All right. Scroll down. Let's see here. Randy, does your Silver Sky have a domestic or exotic cork smell? Let me see. Actually, doesn't smell of anything. Either that or I have COVID. No, doesn't smell of anything. No smell to it. It doesn't smell like vanilla like the Gibson Les Pauls do. So I hope that answers your question, Randy. Okay. Does a Japanese Strat have a 7.25 radius fingerboard? Yes, it does. It does. It's very vintagey, that Strat, and I love it. It's very nice. Do I have it here? Do I have it on my... Did I take it out? I did take it out, and I think I put it back in the case. Yeah, I put that one back in the case. I don't have it here, guys. I would show it to you. I'm sure I showed it on the channel before. And Quicksilver says, no man, a lefty PRS Silver Sky will take another 10 years or so. I don't think so. I think they're going to come out with left-handed versions if they don't already have them. Probably going to take a little while, but I'm sure they're going to have them. Dan Smith is making the suggestion for an even-tied black hole, great for echo, delay, reverb, and cathedral tones. There's a couple of companies that have come out with these combo pedals where you have either like a chorus or an echo or a chorus and a delay all in one pedal. Nice, but I kind of stay away from these combo amps. I prefer to use a dedicated pedal, just because I find that when you're using these combo amps, they're usually not, like, neither one of the effects is great. They're okay, but they're not great, and then you're stuck with both. So I don't know. Rico says seems PRS hates lefties for some reason. Maybe they just don't want the hassle. I don't think it would be hard to make these guitars in a lefty situation. I mean, Fender does it all the time. What's the big deal? But yeah, hopefully soon. Hey, In the Blues, nice to see you, buddy. You're up late or early. Thanks for joining. Did you just purchase the Silver Sky? No, I didn't purchase it. No, this is a sort of a loaner that I'm going to be using for a review. I just wanted to try it out and see if, you know, it would inspire me to maybe pick one up. It's not a bad guitar. I'm going to be honest. So far, like, I don't think I'd buy it new, but I probably would buy it used. Save myself some money and probably buy it used, because it's different enough from the other guitars that I have. Like, I don't need another Strat right now. Nice sound. And I played it with some nice dirt as well. Performs well with the dirt, performs well clean. So it's sort of an evaluation. The other reason why, I'm going to be honest, why I'm not considering buying one right now is I'm not crazy about the colors. I find, I don't know, we need some better choices in colors. And I know they're trying to do like the unique thing and have colors like that nobody else has. But I find that there should be a few more colors offered, and I'm going to wait because I know they're going to come out with other colors. Right now they have 4, right? They have the dragon fruit, they have the evergreen, they have the moon white, and they have the stone blue. Those are the colors. And kind of colors that are in between colors, sort of thing. And I like more vibrant, like solid colors that are kind of a little bit more on the classic side. So I'm going to wait. Leonard says, couldn't find an SE Silver Sky online. And the Blues says, when is your next live issue? Oh, sorry, that's a question for In the Blues. Addicted to Gear, it took until a few years ago for the Lefty Custom 24SC to come out. That only took them, what, 17 years? There must be a bigger demand for lefty guitars, right? I mean, I know Shane is a lefty. Fat Philosopher is a lefty. I'm sure there's a few other lefties in the house. Let's have a show of hands. How many of you guys are lefties here today? Just sort of to get an idea, sort of statistically speaking, how many lefties do we have? We're like, what? We're 51 people online right now? 51? How many of you guys are lefties? Just, I don't know, put an L in the comment section if you're a lefty. Put an R if you're a righty. Maybe they're just trying to save on cost. I don't know. Paul's infamous line: Do they make lefty pianos? Yeah, that's not too good. That's not too cool. That's not politically correct in today's very sensitive times. Yeah, maybe. I don't know if they need to shut it down. Do they? I mean, these guitars are not being made at the PRS plant in the States, right? They're being made overseas. And they're probably being made in plants that make lefty and righty guitars and whatnot. So I don't know. I don't think it would be a big thing to start making lefties. I think it's just a choice more than anything. All right, so let's see here. Surfer By says, I wanted to be a lefty, but I failed. Fat Philosopher's left. Wayne's a righty. Let's see here. Cushman, lefty. Presley, California Customs is right. Alan says he's left and right. Rico's R. Quicksilver's left. Presley says he's got a left hand. The Gospel of Mark says righty and mighty. Quicksilver's left. So there's a lot of lefties here. There's quite a few lefties. So there you go. I think lefties, you guys have to unite. A united front. Make the demands. Start picketing in front of the PRS plant or something. Let Paul know that this is not right. Larry says the only thing I'd like to do lefty is hit a fastball. And Dan says it's nearly impossible to program a CNC machine for left-handed guitars. Why? Why is it so complicated? I don't understand that. Maybe you could clarify that for me, Dan. I don't get it. Cohen is also lefty, playing right-handed guitar. My son does that, Cohen. He's a lefty, but I've given him some guitars, and he seems to be very happy playing them right-handed. So I don't know how that works in the brain. He does that for a few things. We also like to do bow shooting, and bows are also right and left-handed, right? And since I'm right-handed and I had an extra bow, I gave him mine, and he also shoots the bow right-handed. So I guess he's kind of capable of doing a little of both. I guess some people out there are more talented than I am. Surfer By says, Tony, would you ever buy a Core Silver Sky? I don't know. I mean, I'm cheap, right? Okay, sorry. Frugal. I don't like to spend money on guitars uselessly. I don't like to spend, like, if I can buy a guitar at a better price, a lower price, and get two guitars out of it, I'm all over that, right? So the Core line for PRS, anything, not just the Silver Sky, very expensive. I don't know if the price that they're asking for the Core line is really worth it, in my opinion. I find that the SEs are great value, right? Because they're still in the affordable ballpark, and especially if you grab one used. But essentially, it's a Strat, right? I mean, it's a bolt-on neck. It's a Strat-style pickguard, Strat-style pickups. So spending that kind of money for a Strat-style guitar is kind of not very enticing to me at the moment. I would prefer to get something else, or maybe two guitars, or maybe two Strats or something like that. I'm just being honest. This is where I am right now, So am I being unreasonable with that state of mind? I don't know. I just, for right now, I'm not going to say I would never get one, because who knows, maybe eventually I would get one, but at the moment, I'm not really enticed by it. But I think that this guitar is really cool, and I'd like to have one of these. Just to fill out what the Strats can't do, that kind of thing. Server By says, I was trying out a PRS Custom 24 Violet Burst yesterday, and I was wondering why PRS doesn't do stainless steel frets or offer an option on custom builds. I don't know why they don't do that. I think a lot of people are liking the stainless steel frets. I know I like them. These are obviously not stainless steel either, but I like the brightness of the stainless steel frets. They do have a little bit more of a bright ping to the note that I've noticed. Probably nobody else will notice that, But I've noticed, like when you're actually, you know, just plucking the note, they have a little bit of a brighter finish to the note. And to be honest, I haven't worked on stainless steel frets. Like I have never done a fret job on a guitar with stainless steel frets. So I'm just wondering when it gets to that point, hopefully it's going to be a while because that's the whole point of stainless steel. They're supposed to last longer. I'm wondering how much of a pain it's going to be when I actually have to like do a fret file or a leveling on stainless steel frets. I think there's a couple of people here that work on guitars regularly, and maybe you guys can pipe in and let me know. Chime in, let me know how difficult is it to work with stainless steel. I only have two guitars that have stainless steel frets right now. One is the Sir that I have, and the other one is the Harley Benton that I have, the Fusion Pro. Those are the two guitars that I have with stainless steel right now. So let me know if you guys ever worked on one. Tonefish says, dropped off my Wormouth / MJT Telecaster yesterday for plecking. It's a nice combo if you have a guitar with an MJT body and a Wormouth neck. I think that would make a really cool guitar. See, guitars like that, Partcaster guitars that are made of good quality components, good quality neck, good quality body, or at least the finishes on those bodies are quite nice. I like them. They're not for everybody because MJT usually makes bodies that are a little bit like relict. Sometimes a lot relict, but you can specify how much relicking you want. If you want like a closet classic, which is just lightly relict, or really something that looks like it fell into the swamp, they can do all of that. But, you know, put that together with some nice pickups, a good pluck job, a good setup, you can have a killer guitar. Russell says G&L sells all their parts, including bodies, pickups, bridges, etc. for reasonable prices. No necks, but everything literally. But, so if you want any type of G&L hardware, it's there to get. I did have some really nice pickups in one of my G&L guitars that I wouldn't mind having again. And I like the pickups on the G&L side that have the little hex adjustment on the pole pieces. So you can just put a little hex key in there and just raise or lower the individual magnets. I thought that was genius. More guitars should have that kind of adjustability to make it easy. That was a great idea. Leo's whole thing was not about making guitars, but making parts and assembling guitars. He felt if you needed new frets, you bought a new neck. There's nothing wrong with that idea. I love that idea. It still works for me today. I'm so happy he went that route because I can build my guitars at a fraction of the cost and make them just as good or better than what I can buy in the store. You know? What's not to like about that? Alan says, is the Sir worth the price? I get asked that all the time. I'm going to be totally honest. It's a great guitar. Like, I think it's a really well-made, very comfortable, great guitar. But if I had to spend the price that they're asking for today, I wouldn't buy one. I don't think many guitars are worth that $4,000 price that they're asking for. And that one right now is hovering around that price. I was lucky enough to snag that guitar in a trade. And I'm glad I did at the time. It took me a while to get comfortable with the pickups. And I realized, that guitar made me realize that I'm not a big fan of single coil humbuckers. So SSH layouts. I'm not that much of a fan of those type of layouts because I find that there's too much of a difference in tonality between the single coil and the humbuckers. I haven't found a guitar that had a good compromise when it came to switching between the single coil and the humbuckers. So it bothered me for quite a while, even though the Sir pickups are good. They're nice sounding pickups. I ended up taking them out and going the HH route with that. So I changed the pickguard and I put in 2 single coils, and I'm a lot happier with the guitar now with that configuration. But I kept the original pick guard, kept the original pickups, I have everything, so in case I ever decide to sell that guitar, they're ready to go. I can just put them back in, return it to stock. I didn't have to drill in new holes or anything because I don't like doing that. But I like that guitar a lot. It's one of my favorite guitars. But again, it's a lot of money to be spending on a guitar, man. You know? So I don't know if anybody else would be willing to spend that kind of cash. I mean, there's one guitar I'm looking at right now that I'm kind of tempted, but it's still in the $4,000 price point. Actually, more than $4,000. And I'd love to have that guitar, but I just can't bring myself to buying that guitar right now unless I sell something else and sort of finance it that way. But it's a tricky thing to do because then you're going to sell one of your guitars or try and sell one of your guitars before you buy the other one. And then with my luck, I would sell my guitar that I really like to finance the purchase of that one. And the guy would probably end up selling that guitar before I can get my hands on it. And then I'm out I'm out my guitar, and then I got to start all over again. So I don't know. It's a little tricky. Alan says 2K is my psychological limit. Never bought an axe for more than that. Yeah, 2K is okay. It's not bad, but could you even get a Les Paul today for 2K? I think they're already at least here they're over that price, and then you have to add the tax to it. So, unless you buy used, of course, which I highly recommend. Gospel of Mark says I want to get an SG. So you want to get an American-made SG, or do you want to get like a Korean-made one? Do you want to get an Epiphone version? What are you looking at? The only reason I've actually considered an SG, Mark, recently is just because I never had one. I don't feel a big desire to get an SG, but I feel like that's one of the guitars that I'm missing in the collection. I have hollow bodies, I have Strats, I have Telecasters, I have Les Pauls. The only thing that I'm kind of missing is maybe a flying V-shaped guitar, a destroyer-shaped guitar, and an SG, So who knows? Maybe one day I'll get one. Surfer By says, unless you're a seasoned pro, 4,000 plus is a lot for most people. I agree. I've seen a lot of great guitars floating around the used market, and this one that I'm looking at is 4,000, I think $4,400 or something, used. And I find that the seller's price is a little bit too high because it's almost the same price as a brand new one. Okay, you'd be saving the tax on $4,500, which is substantial, but still, I think it should be a little lower than what he's asking for right now. I think he's trying to take advantage of the fact that the prices seem to be a little bit more inflated right now. Leo says the USA Wolfgangs are ridiculously priced, and to think Ed built his Frankie for $150. Well, the Wolfgang is not exactly like a Frankie, right? The Wolfgang is slightly different, it's a different guitar. But the USA Wolfgangs are definitely very expensive. So are the Music Man guitars, right? So as you guys probably know, Ed used to play Music Man also at one point. And, I had one at one point. Great built, the quality of the craftsmanship on those guitars. Guitars felt really good. Again, I got it for a very inexpensive price at the time. But if you buy them brand new today, you're paying about $3,000. So yeah. St. Brando says, Tony, my SG is my second best guitar I have next to my Telecaster. He says that it's lightweight, comfortable, and the neck is fat and chunky. There's a lot of variation in the necks on the SGs as well. I've tried a few, and some of them are more beefy necks. And then you get the uber slim necks. So it depends on what you like. I always feel like, the access to the higher frets are really nice on the SGs. But I never can get used to the thinness of the body. It's just a little bit too thin and not as comfortable as I would like it to be. But the neck is very easy to play. I had an SG with a bad neck dive. Had a thick neck and the one with no neck dive. Yeah, that's one of the things that I noticed on the SGs immediately, is that you end up getting those two variations. Either ones with really heavy necks where the guitar just tilts over, and the ones that are a little bit more balanced. Obviously the balanced ones are the ones to get, but you have to try a few before you find the right one. Alan's also been gassing over the SGs. He says they're light and comfortable neck. Yeah, a lot of people like the SGs, I guess. There's I don't see a lot of, like, I don't see too many. I could be wrong here. Let me think here. Like, are there a lot of players out there today, that younger players I'm talking about, that are opting for SGs over, say, Gibsons or PRSs and stuff like that? I think there are. There are a couple. I know a lot of jazz players or people that play like fusion and stuff like that kind of like the neck on the SG too, because of its playability as well. Mark wants to get a single P90 Fender Telecaster. It's like crossing an Esquire with a Junior. Yeah, I've seen the trend on that. I mean, there's a lot more people now slapping P90s into Telecasters. It's true. I would assume a P90 and a Telecaster is a natural, logical progression, because, excuse me, because I find that Telecasters often sound like, thinner. The pickups on a Telecaster all often sound like thinner versions of what you're getting in a humbucker, and P90s always give you that, right? So I figured, why not have that combo, P90 and, let's see, a P90 in the neck or something like that, and you have a nice regular Telecaster pickup in the bridge. Would sound good, I'm assuming. If you do pick one up like that, Mark, let me know how you like it. I think it would be cool. That could be an easy thing to build into a custom build. I don't know if the Carbonita carves routing are compatible with P90s. I think the Carbonitas are not exactly the same shape as a P90. Am I wrong on that, guys? Because then you can get a Telecaster with Carbonita pickups and put in some P90s in there. That would be cool. I did a floating setup on a Music Man L3 this week. A very nice instrument. Onboard boost. Yeah, I can vouch for that. They're really nice. Very well made. Gordon Smith has always been my favorite SG double cut style guitars. Neck dive on bass is the worst. I don't play that much bass, but yeah, I could imagine having a heavy neck on a bass, or any instruments for that matter, wouldn't be that much fun. Epiphone SG Custom Ebony is a great purchase if the Gibson is too pricey. Yeah, some of those Epiphones are looking very good nowadays. I think they're doing a nice job with them. So you get one of those custom ebony jobs, and yeah, you're in business for a lot less money. Randy says, if you Franken build guitars, no Strat is worth more than $1,000. Exactly. I agree, Randy. Randy knows. If you know, you know, Randy. If you don't know, you don't know. You know? Christian says, I put a Duesenberg less trem in my SG Special. Now it's more stable. I think little upgrades like that go so far. Things that you don't necessarily see, like a better trem, better bridge, better saddles. It makes the guitars so much more comfortable to play. And that's one of the things, if you're building your own guitars, you can really pay attention to those details and put in what you want from the get-go. And I think overall it makes a better guitar. Randy says, the House of Twang is responding to Randy. Says you can get a neck from Wormouth without tuners that costs more than that. The Wormouth stuff is nice because it's customizable. You can make them build you whatever you like, but it's expensive. So if you end up getting a neck and a body at Wormouth together, you can easily spend over $1,000, depending on the options, the woods, the colors, the paint. Everything's an add-on. Everything's a plus, right? It's like ordering a pizza where all the dressings are extra, but at the end you get what you want, hopefully. Surferby says, I just tried a Music Man Sabre at the Guitar Center last week. It's a great guitar, very versatile. Again, retails for $3,400, still a bit high, but a used one would work, I guess, right? Yeah, they're a little expensive, and that's US, so for Canadians, it's even more. But again, I think those are guitars that really, if you have one and you really like it, you keep it forever. The only reason I sold mine, I said it last week, was because the neck width at the nut was a little too narrow for me, just a little too narrow. I don't know why that is, why they make them narrow like that, but the one I had was just a little slightly too narrow. I thought it wouldn't bother me, but at the end of the day it did, and I'm like, no. I tried, had a beautiful neck, maple neck with bird eye maple fretboard on it. I love the way they oil the necks. They don't put poly on their necks. They just basically lightly oil and wax them, and that's amazing. That's what I love on a neck. Like, that's my go-to feel that I'd like to have on a neck. And to be honest, now that I'm talking about that, I know that the PRS guitars are not oiled like that. I'm pretty sure this is an actual poly finish. But the way they actually finish the neck on the guitars with a matte finish, it doesn't feel sticky at all. It kind of reminds me of the Music Man neck a little bit, which I really feel is nice. Comfortable, really comfortable neck on this guitar, gotta say. Joseph says, how swell is the Silver Sky? Joseph, I like it. I at the beginning, I was like everyone else probably. I don't think I was very different than anyone. I'm like, why are they copying a Strat? I mean, it's basically a Strat. Look at it quickly, it looks like a Strat. If you don't pay attention to the birds or whatever. So I felt like, why are they copying a Strat so closely? Like, even, everything's in the same place. Yeah, okay, they changed, the way the input jack looks. They changed the knobs are not exactly like a Strat, and this knob here is slightly different, but I mean, everything else, it's still a Strat, so that bothered me at the beginning. But as far as playability, the guitars, nice. Tuning stability is really nice. Nice variation in tones. You see the neck is not overly muddy. The bridge, it's pretty bright, I gotta try it in a live situation. And if I play with the knobs, so basically you have the same control where the knob here is, let me put it this way, the knob here that controls the tone. Wide open, totally closed. I lost my pick. And in between, right? And then you have same thing for the neck. Closed, wide open, and in between. I mean, I feel that the guitar offers enough tones I feel the guitar offers enough tones to do pretty much everything. But again, I want to reserve my review. This is the reason why I got this guitar, is because I want to make a review on it for you guys, a full review, and maybe I'll even eventually compare it to my one of my Strats. I don't know, we'll see. But I don't like to do a side-by-side comparison with a Strat, because it's not really, in my opinion, it's not a Strat. It looks like a Strat, but it's really not a Strat. But it, you know, it does the Strat thing. It definitely does. So I don't know if that answers your question. I've heard coil splits or taps on PRS SE models are really good compared to other brands. Is this true or just marketing? I mean, the ones that I have don't have coil split functions. I don't really like coil split functions, because I find that if you're putting a humbucker in a guitar, it's made to do the humbucker thing. It's not really made for a single coil. If you're going to be looking for that single coil sound, splitting a humbucker is probably not the best way to do it. It'll get you there in a pinch, but I'm not really one to spend extra money on a coil splitting function. So most of the guitars that I have where I do have coil split functions on them, I rarely use them. I usually go full-blown humbucker. I just feel like it sounds fuller and better to me. If you do like that split coil function, I don't think the PRS do it any worse. I don't think, I mean, do they do it any better? I don't know. I mean, to me, a split coil is a split coil. There's no magic in there. You're really just splitting the coil of the pickup. So I think if the pickup sounds really good to begin with, and then you're splitting the coil, then you're in business. You know, you're able to get a good quality sound out of it, whether it's split or not. But do they do it better? I don't think they would do it any better. You know, but then Tonefish here saying split coils on my USA 5708 is stupid good. So, you know, I guess it depends on what kind of flavor of tone you're looking for out of your split coil pickup. You know, if you're going to be comparing a split humbucker with a single coil Strat pickup, are they going to compare? That might be a good test to do one day. You know, split coil versus a dedicated single coil, which one would win that battle? That would be an interesting thing to try. I might do that one day. Well, that'd be a good video if anybody's interested in something like that. Beavis says, I use a split humbucker for a single coil sound live, but definitely not in the studio. Kicking the puppy around, are we? LOL. Randy says, can you hear / feel the difference? Is the cork smell relevant? Excuse me. I don't think there's a, as I mentioned, I smelled it earlier. Didn't smell of anything. So, humbucker coils in parallel are much better than splits, no noise, and they sound pretty good. Yeah, there's a couple of different ways you can do that. You can achieve the split coil setting if you want to. And I think there are some other companies that are making more complicated, more techie ways of actually doing a split coil. So it depends on how you're going about it. How about we hit that like button for Tony? Jack, I'm going to give you one of the little heart things. All right, Jack, thank you. Thank you for reminding people to do that. I appreciate that, Jack. Thanks. In other news, we're not going to just talk about a Silver Sky today here. Did you guys see that Fender released a new, what they call professional pedal board? Did you guys catch that at all? Fender's releasing some interesting things. If you guys have a chance, take a look at it. It's a cool pedal board. It's not bad, but it's, I don't know how professional it is because they've decided to use a tweed cover. It's basically an aluminum pedal board that has cuts in it, so you can actually attach pedals to it in different ways. And the thing that they've done was that they've included a case for it, but the case is made out of tweed. And I'm thinking, if anybody's a gigging musician and really wants to have something that's going to last a long time, I don't think tweed would be the best option in a pedal board case, because tweed doesn't really last. It's pretty fragile. It's pretty delicate in my opinion, and it really gets ruined quickly. So they call it the professional pedal board, but I think that's more of a marketing ploy. But they look nice. I think if they didn't have tweed on it, or if they have an option where you don't have tweed, it would be a nice option to have. You know, but that's the choice that they made, so they got to live with that. And I don't know if that's going to affect sales or not. There may be people that are just like happy to have a really nice looking tweed case to carry their cases around, their pedals around, but I like something that's actually a little bit more durable than that. Vox Guitars Rock says nice shirt. Thank you, thanks. Vegatram, yeah, check them out. They're pretty nice, nifty products for sure. Rico says, yeah, I looked at those last night, 199, 249, and 299. So small, medium, and large. Yeah, they have the different formats as well. There's so many companies making different versions of pedal boards out there. Some of them are really, really nice. So, you know, if you're going to be spending like $300 on a pedal board, you do have quite a bit of choice out there. So maybe look at all of the options before you make a purchase. I have a question for you guys. My friend's son is looking to buy a guitar. And of course, my friend asked me my opinion on that. He says his son wants to buy a guitar from about $250. His budget is about $250 to $500. Hopefully, if he can squeeze in an amplifier, he would be even happier, right? So $250 to $500, a beginning sort of entry-level guitar, but he specified that he wanted a guitar that he'd be able to keep for a long time. So basically something that he can grow into. So he asked my opinion on that. And I think it's getting pretty hard to find a guitar that is well made, that doesn't require any mods at the $250 price point. But I had a couple of ideas and suggestions for him. So I'm wondering if you guys can actually help out. Give me your thoughts as to what maybe you would suggest in that price range, and I'm going to tell you what I thought after, and see if our thought processes line up. Keith, thank you for the super chat, buddy. I appreciate that, man. Keith says, looked up on Google. PRS has two model lefties, SE Custom 24, and wheel tuners from Fender's fit on a Squire guitar without having to modify. All right. So thanks for looking up the PRS models for us. Thank you for doing that. So you got an answer, guys. There are some lefty models. That's great to know. And will tuners from Fender's fit on a Squire guitar without having to modify? So that question is a little bit more tricky. It goes a little bit deeper because it depends which Fender you're taking the tuners from and which Squire you're going to be putting the tuners onto. Because typically with the Fenders, you have the vintage style tuners, which typically have smaller holes. And then you have the modern style tuners that have, you can tell the modern ones are usually minute chrome. They don't have a back that looks something like this, you know. I don't know if you can see that. They have more of a block, cast block chrome usually, back portion, and those usually have a bigger hole or fit into a bigger hole. So it depends on which guitar you're taking them from, which guitar you want to put them onto. Often also the Fender modern tuners also have little pins that they cast into the back of the tuner, and instead of using a screw, what they do is they drill two pilot holes, and those pins fit right in so it doesn't move. Once you have the nut here locked in place in the front, the tuner won't move on you. They have some like that. So you would have to be more specific and tell me which guitars they're going onto. Putting them onto a Squire is not the end of the world. Even if there are modifications that need to be made, sometimes you can just ream the hole. If you have a little reamer, make it the hole a little bit bigger so that the Strat pickups, the Strat tuners will fit, and you can just drill in 2 little pilot holes. It's not that hard to do, and it's definitely a worthwhile upgrade in my opinion if you want to keep the Squire. Maybe you're talking about a Squire Classic Vibe, I don't know. If you can clarify that, would be cool. But I would definitely end up doing that if I had a choice and I wanted to keep the Squire. So I hope that helps. If you want, you can send me some photos, Keith, after the show's over, and I'd be happy to look at that for you and give you some more advice. Okay. Fat Philosopher says my pedal board cost me $10. What did you end up getting, like an IKEA chopping board and modify that and turn it into a pedal board, or did you just get something used? I've seen a lot of like do-it-yourself pedal board designs that work. You know, they work. A board's a board. It depends on how picky you are. So yeah, so Gear Junkie says use Squire Vintage Vibe, Modified, or Classic Vibe all day for the win. That's definitely one that I suggested in my list. I agree. The Classic Vibe stuff is great. You can usually still get them at a decent price used, and whether you go for a Strat or a Telecaster, they're nice. And of course, the real reason why it's a good choice is they're extremely moddable. So if tomorrow you want to upgrade the pickups on those guitars, you can. The hardware's all, upgradable. So you're not going to be stuck, right? I agree with you on that. Let's see here. Christian says Telecaster Deluxe with Classic Vibe 60s neck, Alnico 2 humbuckers with Jimmy Page wiring, plan to fabric top the body and double bind it. Nice. So a couple of people have been talking to me about this new fabric technique, and I don't know if you guys know what this is all about, but it's basically when you take a piece of fabric with a nice design on it and you basically put it on the top, you glue it onto the top of the guitar, and then you cover it in many, many layers of either poly or lacquer or whatever you're ending up using until it's completely sort of submerged under the finish, and it looks like a paint job. And I've never tried doing this. I don't know if I would have the courage to do that. It seems like a lot of work to do something like that. It might be easier on a Telecaster because a Telecaster is typically flat. So I think a lot of the Paisley type Telecasters that we've seen in the past use this technique, but I've never tried it. So I'd love to see how that's going to turn out for you, Charles. Let us know, please. My pedal board was free, made it out of scrap wood, plywood. It's ghetto, but it works. Listen, most of the time you don't need anything too crazy for a pedal board. And the cool thing about making it out of wood is that you can make it exactly what you need in terms of the sizes, drill in the holes where you need them to be. The only thing that really concerns me about a pedal board has to be A, durable, B, light. Because once I, strap on a whole bunch of pedals on my board, it gets heavy fast, So I think that's one of the things that I kind of aim for. Gear Junkie says use Fender Champ XD with tube is about $150-200. The Squire is about $250 used. I don't know about the $250 anymore. The Squire Classic Vibes, at least in my area, tend to hover at about $400 now. I haven't gotten lucky enough to find one at about $250, unfortunately. I'm still looking though. And yeah, Harley Benton was another suggestion I had, because you can get some pretty nice playing Harley Bentons for not that much money, in between the $250 and $500 mark. I think you could line up a nice guitar. And yeah, that's another suggestion that I made. I think the Harley Benton ones are pretty cool. I think the Berettas, if you're not looking for anything that has two pickups or three single coil pickups, and you're happy with a one pickup, one knob guitar, I think you can't really go wrong with the Berettas. I think those are pretty nice, and typically brand new they're like $200. But it's not for everyone. That look, that style of guitar is not for everyone. So, somebody might be a little bit intimidated by the hockey stick headstock on that. Fat Philosopher suggesting going with the used Fender or Yamaha Mustang Micro for $99. Another option. And if somebody's really looking for an amp, I wouldn't hesitate to suggest going with a multi-effects unit, because there's some advantages with the multi-effects units over an amp. A, you don't have to listen to your son play lousy while he's learning how to play the guitar. With the multi-effects unit, he can put on headphones. He can play along with his music, because you can easily plug in an aux in and listen to your music while you're trying to play along with it. And you basically have a wide variety of amp and pedal combinations, so you're not going to be tempted to start buying pedals and whatnot, and it's portable, so you can take it, you can bring it into your room, you could take it to your friend's house and stuff like that. You can record with it, you can use it as an interface. So there's many reasons why a multi-effects unit might be a good option as opposed to an amplifier. If you're not playing with a band, for example, and you don't need to have like that loud live music, then a multi-effects might actually be better. So BC Rich is also saying Squire. I agree. And Tonefish says, no on the tuners. They have two small pins that are slightly off, easy to mod, and you can't see the holes. That's what I was talking about too. Yeah, I don't have one here to show you, but if you look on the internet, just type in Fender tuning keys or Fender tuners and look at the backside, pictures that show the backside, you'll see what I mean. Dan of New Jersey says the Pacifica, that's also a nice guitar. I think so. The Art guitar is good too. That's another suggestion, but unfortunately now the price on those E-Art or Art guitars, ERT, whatever you want to call them, they've gone up. So now I think the going rate on some of those guitars is closer to $400. If you can find a used one at a reasonable price, I would suggest that one, because it's easy to mod as well, and you have a nice playing and looking guitar. Charvel is putting out good guitars, Floyd and non-Floyd. I think the Charvel guitars are still part of the line of guitars that are still under $1,000, and you still get decent quality for your money. I would probably stay away from a Floyd version. I'm just thinking out loud. I've tried the Charvels with the Floyd. I think that's one of the reasons why I got rid of my Charvel, is because I wasn't bonding with the Floyd on it. It was a little bit too much of a pain to set up. If I had an option of grabbing another Charvel, I probably would go with one without the Floyd, just to save myself the hassle. Joseph's asking if the Silver Sky SE is better than the 2408 SE or the custom 22 SE. In my opinion, Joseph, those are pretty different. They're different playing, different sounding guitars. I wouldn't necessarily compare the Silver Sky to the other ones. I think if you're looking at one of the other guitars, you're looking at getting a guitar that doesn't necessarily sound like as close to a Strat, So I wouldn't necessarily compare them side by side. I think if you're grabbing a Silver Sky, you're grabbing it for specific reasons, as opposed to the others that you've mentioned. Let me catch up on the chats here. I've fallen behind once again. Sorry if I jump over your comments. Rico, yeah, so Squire, Epi, Katana amp, those are all good. Firefly Les Paul at 189 bucks. I don't know. I haven't tried a Firefly, so I can't really comment on that. I know that the vintage brand has some good quality guitars as well. So if you buy a vintage style Les Paul, I think those are good value for the money as well. And Christian suggests to go for a Yamaha Pacifica or an Ibanez AZES. The Pacificas are getting definitely good reviews. They're great, solid guitars. I find Yamaha's always made good quality stuff. You know, they are a little sterile in terms of, how can I put this? They're just good instruments. I think Yamaha always makes really good instruments, no matter what they do, whether it's drums, pianos, guitars, keyboards, whatever. You're not going to be disappointed by Yamaha quality. But I think over time you might feel like you want to go into something a little bit more towards what your icons play. You know, I don't see that many people that are like, you know, rock stars playing Yamaha, but there are some great quality jazz guitars out there that they make as well. I'm not going to say there's nobody playing Yamaha guitars. I mean, you have Rick Emmett from Triumph. He was playing Yamaha guitars. I think even, if I'm not mistaken, at a certain point, I think Alex Lifeson, I think, was also playing Yamaha guitars at one point. So there have been many people that have played Yamaha guitars over time, but I think eventually you want to get a Strat, you want to get a Les Paul, you want to get something along those lines. So maybe it's going to be one of those things where eventually you get tired of it, you know. All right, guys. Thanks for the advice. Fat Philosopher said he bought his daughter a used Ibanez Geo for $100. Looks cool. I don't know how good the Geos will stand up over time, but if you're looking at a guitar that you want to keep a little longer, I'd maybe go with an RG if I'm looking at one of those Ibanez guitars. I would say that would be one of my suggestions. Who's calling me? Somebody loves me right now. I'll have to take the call later. House of Twang says made his own pedal board and made one for a friend. They charge too much money for pedal boards. For what they are, I gotta agree with you. Like, there's not that much work sometimes that goes into these pedal boards. If you're comfortable working with aluminum, you can definitely build a really nice pedal board for not too much money. I think the most important part of a pedal board is the actual case or bag that you're using to carry it with. You want it to be solid. You want to be able to put in as much stuff in those cases or in those bags. You know, I find bags are a little bit more user friendly because you can actually stuff them a little bit more. But I find that they don't usually make them user friendly because you can easily put in more pockets, more zippers, you know, because there's always stuff you want to put in there, you know, cables, notes, you know, music sheets, different things that you want to have. And I'd love to see somebody make something that would be able to carry your pedals, have enough pockets and whatnot to be able to put in additional stuff in there, and have, you know, those wheels that you can roll. And it would be great if they could even have an option where you can actually put in, you know, an amp head or something on it and roll the entire thing. That would be really cool. Make it practical. So it's not just a pedal board. You know, if it costs a little bit more money with all those options, I'd probably buy that. Anything that makes getting to the gig easier would be something that I'd be interested in. DMAX says Squire Affinity are really good with are good lately for price. Strat or Telecaster with a Fender Mustang LT25 is about $600 Canadian. I'm not a big fan of the Affinities. I don't know if they've changed things maybe lately they've made them better, but the ones that I've tried in the past, I don't think I would recommend those, just because I find that if you want a long-term guitar, you're better off spending a little bit more for the classic vibe stuff. Well, that's the thing, Steve. He's not sure what kind of guitar shape he likes. So that's what I did. I kind of looked on the used market locally, and I basically sent him what I thought would be a good purchase for most of the guitar shapes. So I sent him a Telecaster, a Stratocaster, a Les Paul style guitar, an Ibanez style guitar, and an SG style guitar. So he has five different shapes to choose from, and then if he narrows down the choices to one, then I'll know what he's looking at, and maybe I can start giving him more insight onto that particular type or style of guitar. Surferby says, buy a used Reverend for your son. They're affordable, Carina body and necks. I love them. It's not my son. It's actually a friend of mine's son. The River End are nice too. I agree. That's a nice choice as well. Gear Junkie says, doing a restring on an early 90s made in Japan Charvette Red Crackle HSS Floyd today. Speaking of Charvel, it was a $40 pawn shop rescue. I love those. I love those pawn shop rescues. If you can get a guitar for like $100 that needs a little bit of love, TLC, maybe a paint job or something like that, grab them. They're great. They're great platforms to learn how to do repairs. I recently saw somebody selling a used Ibanez. It was an RG, but it was a lower end version. I think they were asking like $100. Probably could end up grabbing the guitar for like $80 or so. Had a nasty chip in it. But if you're handy at painting guitars and doing some body work, you'd be able to make that guitar like new for not too much money. Joseph says, is the Silver Sky more of a thick special tone or a Strat with more Mayer limitation than regular versatility? I don't think, like honestly, here, you can hear it. I don't think, if you dig into the note, I'm going to say, what I'm hearing I don't hear too much of a difference. I would say maybe the sound of the pickups are a little rounder. Maybe a little bit rounder than what I would be hearing on my Strat, but not much. I don't think it's a huge difference. Like, I don't even know if a lot of people would actually even notice that difference. I'm not really sure, like honestly. I can't really say, but tonight I'm going to be playing the guitar with the boys, and we're going to be playing it loud, and we're going to be playing it with drive, and I'm going to give you a little bit more insight as to what I feel the guitar offers in a real world environment. Right now I'm playing it through a multi-effects unit, so it's not being played through an amp. And I'll give you some feedback as to what the boys say, if they think it sounds good or not tonight. All right, guys. Well, I think we're gonna have to say goodbye. I've been talking about an hour and almost a half. Yeah, I think the PRS has slightly more mids. I agree with you. But it's yeah, it's chimey, and it's not ice picky, at least as what I can tell. So I like it so far. Again, would it stand the test of time? I think so. I don't think it'll fall apart on me. I don't know. But again, this is not mine. I haven't decided to buy it or anything yet. If I do decide to get one, you'll be the first to know. So guys, it was a pleasure spending an hour and a half with you guys all today. I hope you guys are all going to be tuning in regularly, and I'm happy to see that there's new faces here today. A lot of new faces actually, so I'm really happy to see that. If you guys are looking at getting more insight on gear, effects, pedals, and all that kind of stuff, then tune in to the regular videos that I put out on YouTube as well. Give me your feedback on those. And if you guys want to continue watching the shows, they're always going to be here on Sundays, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. That is sort of the slot that I'm aiming for, so everybody will be able to tune in and know when to tune in. So next week we'll be there at the same time. I think next week is Easter weekend, so I don't know if we'll have as many people tuning in, but hopefully we will. And make sure that you guys continue to practice and continue to focus on playing music, not just watching YouTube videos, but also playing your music on a regular basis, because that's gonna make you sound much better than any gear you can possibly buy or any guitar you could possibly buy. So that's the most important thing. And stay tuned, because I have a couple of other surprises for you, including some interesting giveaways. I mentioned that before, but there's a pedal giveaway coming up and possibly more. I'm not going to say anything else, but you're going to be pleasantly surprised, I think. So stay tuned for that. All right, guys? Have a great rest of your weekend. Enjoy your Sunday. Get out there and get some air as well. And if you're playing, then play with all your heart and make it count, because, you can't fake the love of playing music. Either you played with 100% of your heart or don't play at all. All right, guys. Peace. Take care of yourself. Take care of your families. And see you all next Sunday for another show. Thumbs up to you guys.